Hey, this week on Convincing Idiots, you're lucky you clicked on it. You're lucky you're listening. You're lucky you're watching. In our main event, we are going to come up and talk about our most disappointing sports moments. All of that and so much more this week on Convincing Idiots. What are you doing? What are we doing? Let's start the show.
You guys enjoy your whatever that is.
All right. Test.
In 5, 4, 3.
Hey there, hi, hello, welcome back to Convincing Idiots, our final segment of the evening. This is episode 290 by my notes. And gentlemen, we talk a lot about things on this show that, we are passionate about, that we are knowledgeable about, but Dean here, and Brian as well. You guys are, primarily Cleveland sports fans, along with Brian has some other teams that he likes as well. And I am a Toronto sports fan. And although we are, they exist in different countries and, different sports, regardless of how much we love our sports, both of these cities, and therefore the three of us, have plenty of experience in our topic this evening, which is going to be our most disappointing sports moments.
Okay.
So
Can I say something real quick
Yes.
on this? Because I thought about this, and we are a global podcast.
We
have
global.
listeners in Germany and in India and all across the world. We are based here in Northeast Ohio. We are fans of sports throughout the United States. But I know all of you out there, regardless of what our list ends up being, can relate to the heartbreak, because all of you have had a football team or a cricket team out there, rugby team, that has just shit the bed at the worst possible time, in the franchise history. And that eats at you, and to this day, you wake up and there's a certain time in the day where you can it pops in your head and you just feel like shit because of the way your team, regardless of the sport, made you feel. So I just wanted to put that out there, that this isn't, yes, this is going to be U.S. centric, but take this
Well,
in
mine
the
won't be.
I'm saying North America centric. But take this in the idea of just remember what your sports team did to you, regardless of the sport, what your sports team did to you. And we give this list in empathy of all sports fans throughout the world. So with that said.
Yes. All right. So, let's get started. Dean, why don't you give us three?
Okay. Like I said, not all mine are Cleveland or Northeast Ohio centric. My first one is the 1997 Cleveland Indians World Series loss to the or 95. I'm sorry, 95 loss to the Atlanta
95 was
Braves.
the Braves, right? I was saying 97 was the Marlins.
Correct. Yeah. The 95 loss to the Atlanta Braves. Number 2. Bill Buckner, Game 6 of the 1986 World Series. The ball going through his legs was.
That's it.
Again, I'll argue that when it comes up. But Bill Buckner, 1986 Game 6 World Series. And then I also have 1968, the Heidi Bowl. It is when the Jets and the Raiders were playing, and it got down to the last play to determine the end of the game. And most of the country, for some reason, the networks turned over to the TV or the movie Heidi, and they missed the end of that game.
Yep.
big controversy. You can find actual documentaries based just upon that event itself. So those are my three, gentlemen.
Okay. Brian, what do you got?
Okay. I have in the 1987 Celtics finals versus the Lakers. Most significantly, the Magic Johnson mini skyhook shot.
Okay.
I have the 2016 Cleveland Indians losing to the Chicago Cubs after being up 3-1 in the World Series. And this is kind of a bigger, not in a game here, but certainly a very disappointing sports moment as a fan. The Jimmy Johnson leaves the Dallas Cowboys in the feud with Jerry Jones.
That's a good one. Yep. That's a good one. All right. So these are probably the three most traumatic things that have ever happened to me in my life. I have the 2025 Game 7 World Series. Toronto Blue Jays losing to the LA Dodgers. I have the 2013 epic third period collapse of the Toronto Maple Leafs to the Boston Bruins in the first round of the Stanley Cup Finals. And I have the 2003 Stanley Cup Final, was a series most of all, of the Anaheim Ducks and the New Jersey Devils. So.
Gen X Brian here from the Convincing Idiots podcast. If you're enjoying our show, tell a friend. And if you're not, well, tell two enemies.
All right. So you guys may not be familiar with a couple of those, but yeah. So
that is why we're supposed to argue.
Okay. So I want to know about the Heidi Bowl first, because I don't know what you mentioned. It sounded interesting.
Okay. All right. So in 1968, I don't even know if it was Brian. Maybe you can help me out here. It wasn't necessarily even a playoff game.
No, it wasn't. It was the Raiders and somebody. Let me see here.
But it was an important game. Like whatever was happening, whatever the game was supposed to be, it was an important game. And all throughout the country, the way TV networks were set up back then, the national feed was sent out, and the local feeds would, turn over to the local feeds at a certain time. Well, this game was going long, and it came down to like the most important play at the end of the game. So all throughout America, whoever was watching that game, I think most of them, the play started and the game cut out and turned to the movie Heidi.
Yeah, what happened is it was the Oakland Raiders and the New York Jets.
Yep.
Oakland scored 2 touchdowns in the final minute of the game to win the game 43-32.
Wow.
Coverage on the East Coast went to Heidi.
Right. So all of these people were just furious, writing into the NFL, writing into the local stations, writing into the networks themselves. I mean, it was a huge national blunder for the NFL.
And NBC, for that matter.
And NBC. So I'm assuming after that, things were looked at differently on the network side and things were changed. Because a lot of people, imagine having money on that game. I don't care if you're a fan of the Jets or whatever. Imagine you're in North Carolina and you put money on that game, and just before the last play, it cuts and moves to like a small redhead girl standing in an open field dancing. You're gonna be pissed, and a lot of people were. It is, to me, nationally. That is one of the biggest blunders and disappointments in a lot of people's eyes, especially for the NFL themselves and NBC. So that's why I put that on my list.
Okay. Interesting.
We're going to call it Heidi Bowl.
Heidi Bowl. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. The Heidi Bowl. All right.
Nick, I want to hear some of yours. I'm not familiar with some of these, so
Yeah, I'll start
Keep
with
us
my
up to
first
date.
heartbreak. Let's go in chronological order here for me. My first one, just real quick, favorite hockey player of all time, and my hero as a kid, Paul Correa. Okay, when I first got into hockey, he played for the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. I initially chose the Ducks because of the movies, and I
Sure.
was a kid, and it was who I decided to cheer for. And this guy was my hero. I idolized him, and we're the number 9, and because he wore it, and he was a small, undersized, very skillful player. He played for the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, was drafted by them. He was their phenom, and for many years, the Mighty Ducks were kind of a laughing stock around the NHL. Paul Correa put up a lot of points and was, they're always their leader and their captain and always their best player. Well, in 2003, they made a coaching change. They picked up some guys at the trade deadline, and they went on a little run. And they actually, for I think only maybe in 2003, it was probably only their third appearance ever in the Stanley Cup playoffs. They enter the playoffs as the number 7 seed, and they go on this magical Cinderella run. They in the first round they swept the dynasty Detroit Red Wings 4-0 right off the rip. I mean, unbelievable. Didn't feel like that was ever possible. They were grossly outmatched and definitely the heavy underdogs. And then they go on to the second round, and they are up against the defending Stanley Cup champion Dallas Stars that year. Dallas Stars in the early 2000s were a powerhouse as well. Beat them in 6 games. So they're on this incredible Cinderella run. Go on to the next round, to the Western Conference Finals. They sweep again the Minnesota Wild this time. So through 3 rounds of the playoffs, they have lost 2 games the whole time. 2 sweeps. And then they're up against the New Jersey Devils in the Stanley Cup Finals, who, elite, legendary goaltender Martin Brodeur is now a Hall of Famer, and a lot of incredible talent on those early 2000s Devils team. So basically, I mean, these two teams go back and forth. No team loses on home ice. And in one of the this whole magical run gave birth to one of my greatest sports moments ever. And it's affectionately referred to as off the floor, on the board. My favorite player, Paul Correa, comes across the blue line, looks down at the puck for a fraction of a second, and gets knocked out completely cold. The hit to this day is very jarring to see. Open ice hit from Scott Stevens of the New Jersey Devils, who is heavy hitter. In this today's NHL game, that hit would have been illegal, and he would have been suspended for that because it was absolutely a headshot. Knocked him out cold. Paul Correa is laying there. He looks dead. In the moment, he looked dead. He was not breathing. He's just laying on the ice, just complete snow angel. And all of a sudden, he's wearing a half visor, and you see him come to because a puff of air fog hits his visor, and that's him like waking up, right? There again, in today's NHL, this beautiful moment that unfolded never would be allowed to happen because he would have been taken back for concussion protocol. He would have had to sit the rest of the night, all that stuff. They take him out at the end of the second period when this hit happens. He comes back on the bench for the third, comes out in his first shift, and gets over the blue line into the zone and absolutely rips a slap shot right past Martin Brodeur. And the legendary call is Paul Correa off the floor on the board, and everybody's going nuts in Anaheim. It's this amazing thing. The Ducks have never had anywhere near this kind of success, and the adrenaline's pumping, and this magical moment's happened. So that was Game 6, which forced a Game 7, and then in Game 7 they lay a giant fucking goose egg and lose 3-0 in Game 7. And let's see, 2003, I was let's
4?
see, it was let's see, I would have been 13. And that absolutely crushed me, them losing that way. I'm gonna it's a little dark, but that's the first time I ever was like, I don't know that there's a God, because I laid in my bed and went like, why would this happen to me? This isn't like it's me, right? It has nothing to
You're
do with anybody else in the
personally
world. But I'm in this moment. I'm just like, you know what? God damn it. I try to be a good kid. I listen to my parents. I do well in school. I'm respectful to people. I'm nice. This is the thing that I love the most. Why can't I have this? And it never did happen. Paul Correa, my hero, he never won a Stanley Cup.
Is that the moment you started turning into a piece of shit?
That's,
Because you're like, what does
what's
it
the point?
matter?
What is the
What
point?
does it matter?
So it was my most crushing and at that point in my life, it was the most crushing thing that had ever happened to me, if you can call it that, because it didn't happen to me directly. It didn't
Hold
change my
on.
life, but
I don't
it
mean to get
certainly
personal, but like, weren't your parents already divorced by then?
they were
And
not.
I was gonna say, and then that's the most crushing thing that's
Looking
happened to you?
back, that was
Wow.
worse. Absolutely.
All
That
right.
2003 Stanley Cup Finals is way worse than their divorce. Fuck yeah. Oh, still terrible. But yeah, yep. So that's my story. That is my personal one of the absolute just most heartbreaking
Well,
moments.
you telling that story, my heart is breaking for a tiny mullet-headed
Oh,
Nikolai,
Yeah.
yep,
laying in his bed,
yep,
laying in his bed with his
yep,
little mullet heart broken.
yep.
I'm very sad for this.
Pre-Quiznos
Mhm.
That's
apron.
right. It was pre
Hmm.
Quiznos. Yeah, it sure
Mhm.
was.
Yep,
Man.
yep.
Brian, break our hearts, baby. Let's hear it.
I'll give you the Celtics one here. So this is 1987 Lakers Celtics. That was the third time that they played in the finals in the 80s. Just epic series. Bird versus Magic. I mean, this is Michael Jordan, his second season, so he was still an up and comer. The Bulls were still not a good team. So Celtics and Lakers ruled. Lakers won the most championships in the 80s. 86 Boston had one of the best years in NBA history, literally. Bird at the top of his game was always my favorite player in the 80s. 87 Boston gets past Detroit when Detroit was the up and coming Bad Boys era and all that. They get past Detroit to get to the final, but they're battling injuries. Lose the first two games in LA. Wins game 3 in Boston. You've got to win game 4. If you lose game 4, you're in serious trouble. And just coincidentally, it happened to be the night that I graduated high school
Oh wow.
from at the Akron Civic Theater, right?
Oh,
And
with your
a
red
buddy and I,
tuxedo and your trumpet.
no, we just had a buttoned up shirt and a tie
Okay.
under the gown. Me and my very good friend at the time, Todd, who has since passed on, but um, he was a big Lakers fan and I was a big Celtics fan. We did our graduation. We just thought we'd try to get into a bar to see what happened. We wound up walking across the street to, at the time, it was Bilbo's, Mr. Bilbo's at the time, which some of the old signage and stuff are now at Mike's and Kent. That's just kind of a story there a little bit. You can see some of the old signage is in that place, but it's now like the Lock 3, I think it is, the Lock View. Lock View has all the grilled cheese. And anyways, we get in, we get a beer, and that game is on. And we're watching that game, and this is the game you may
Did
or
you
may not have
not get
seen.
carded because of your feathered
Didn't
mustache?
did not get carded. The drinking
Okay.
age then was 19, right? So we could pass
Oh, okay.
still.
All right.
And you can look it up on highlights, but Magic Johnson gets the Lakers are down. He comes around and does this like mini hook shot,
Mm.
swishes it. Lakers are up by 1 point. Boston has a chance to still take the lead, get the ball to Bird. He gets a great look at a shot, gets a great shot off, just banks off the rim.
Mm.
Boston loses 107-106, down 3-1, wins the next game, but then loses the final game. Celtics lose in 6. That was it for Larry Bird and that era in Boston. He played a few more seasons. He played into the 90s.
Sure.
But Boston never got that far again with Larry Bird. That was
it.
you didn't
That
know
was
it at the
it.
time.
Sure.
But to lose to the Lakers and and just you had a chance to win game 4. It just, so close. And then again, when you look back on it, it's like, man, that was it.
You
They
didn't know.
never got that far. You didn't know at the time. They never got that far again.
No.
So it was just kind of a weird thing that it happened to be on graduation as well.
Sure.
It was like a whole kind of passage of time to just a different era of your life and sports that your sports hero that you grew up with and this
Yeah.
and that and the other. So that's it. So just for me personally, it's very bittersweet to see Magic make that goddamn hook shot to beat Boston. Still could have won
Yeah.
anyway, but that was the pivotal moment when he
Injected
made
AIDS
that.
into your emotions on that night.
That was it. That was it.
That is a way to put that.
Man,
See,
god damn.
I can respect the that time period. I know when I walked across the stage, and this isn't a joke. I wore house slippers and had a beer in each pocket as I walked across stage, shaking the hands of the principal, and got my diploma. And then we chugged beers in the parking lot of E.J. Thomas Hall.
All right.
So,
mm-hmm.
Good
Fast
memory.
times at Ridgemont High. Yeah,
it's
good deal.
close. I was a degen. All right, so. All right, my next
Did you
one.
use that in past tense?
That's fair. All right, so I went with Heidi. Now I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with a personal one. 1995. I was 14 years old. I was just at the right age, in the right emotional state, to really appreciate sports and the love of the game and the love of. I mean, I'd always loved baseball as a kid, but like you were at the time to really appreciate it, right? 14. And
It's something to rally around with your buddies and everybody's watching it.
Yeah.
And it's
leading
kind of a
up to
different
it,
thing.
the Indians hadn't been to the World Series since 48.
54.
54. So I actually have a box of newspapers with if you remember, they had the magic number at the top of the Akron Bees Journal leading up to what it took for the Guardians to clinch the Central Division Championship. So I have all those papers. I have all throughout the playoffs, the World Series. I have a whole box of these World Series, like you'd see in, the Bennigans or whatever, in frames. I have all those newspapers. It was the most vested I've ever been into any sort of sports thing. You watch stuff and you're like, oh, that sucks that, the drive happened, the shot happened. No, that sucks. But my heart and soul was into this.
It was exciting back then.
What hurt the most was 1995. We had the ultimate team. That roster, not only hitting, but pitching, closing with Jose Mesa. Couldn't, if you told anybody that you were going to be at Game 6 of the World Series with Jose Mesa being able to shut it down and end it, or Game 7 and end it, you go, I'd take that any day of the week. And we had it. We had Jose Mesa, our star closer. He was off the chart. Just shut down everybody. So when he comes on in the ninth, no worries. We're 3 and out. World Series are ours. Nope. Gets up hit after hit. They score. Atlanta gets ahead. Have to go into the bottom of the ninth with or top of the ninth, one of them. But Charles Nagy, they had to bring him on to close it up.
Oh, dude, you're thinking of 97, dude.
Am I thinking no?
Yeah.
Am I conflating the two?
Yeah, 97 against the Marlins. 97 was at bottom of the seventh, or it was the seventh game. They had Jared Allen, or whoever, not Jared Allen. Jared, what was that kid's name? I'm just watching the Cavs here in the background, but they had a young pitcher pitched, not Jared Allen, but it was Jared somebody, but he pitched the entire game into the ninth inning. They bring in fucking Jose Mesa and fucking blew it. And then they brought Nagy in, and Nagy lost it. That's okay. That's all right.
Well, all right. First, technically,
you didn't care as much as you claim you do.
Right. Well, I've also been drinking all day. All right. So regardless, technically wasn't Nagy's fault. Yes, Nagy gave up the hit to end the game for them to go over, but Mesa should have had that in the bag. You know what I mean?
That was
Like
that
him
was a
being your
tough that was a
closer.
tough loss. Yeah, that was
That's
tough.
the tough one for Mesa to, and that's my sports moment. What my disappointing sports moment. I'm not talking about game or numbers. I'm talking about Jose Mesa.
Yeah.
Mesa is my disappointing sports moment because he was golden.
Yeah, he was automatic that year. Yeah,
You
really
wouldn't
was.
even, nobody would even thought that could have happened.
Mm-mm.
But him blowing it enough to have Nagy come in with what? Like, I mean, he wasn't ready for that, and he was not a closer and all that. But
Nope.
for Jose Mesa to that sucked. So
Yeah.
regardless
Yeah,
of what year it was.
well,
I'm talking
the
about the
Braves
Jose
won
Mesa.
4-2 that year, but Cleveland that year
Yeah,
they
I'm sorry.
they had
It was the
that's right.
Marlins one.
I think they had the best record in baseball that year. Cleveland, that they had over 100 wins. But just in general, that era of the Cleveland Indians, like I said, it's one of the best probably baseball teams put together that ever won the World
Yep.
Series, probably
Yep.
ever. When you look at all the statistics, and that was
Absolutely.
crazy. And couple it with the strike season as well in 1994. The top
Right.
two teams in baseball that year had the best records: the Cleveland Indians and the Montreal Expos. You may not even remember that.
Dude, do you ever watch?
And those
Did you
teams
get a chance?
were kicking out. That was the year that Jacobs Field opened. It was
Real quick,
all like hype, and they fucking go on strike and cancel the whole goddamn World Series.
did you
Done.
ever get? Did you ever get to watch out on Netflix the Expos documentary? So cool.
Mm-mm. Not
You
yet.
need to watch that. Because it talks about that too.
Is that one of the untold ones or whatever?
Yeah,
like on Netflix.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
All right, Nick, give us another one.
All right.
Make sure you have the right year with your
Yeah.
I eat shit.
Yeah.
recollection, please.
Mine.
First of all,
mine.
we're called convincing idiots.
Yeah.
Okay.
The year on mine's pretty good. It's referenced a lot in Maple Leaf fandom circles. So the year is 2013. Setting the stage here. It's a lockout shortened season. So they only played
Couldn't you
54
have just
games.
said Toronto Maple Leafs and Leafs?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Game, set, match, dude. Leafs, like fucking dude.
All right, I
I'm
get
putting
it.
them on the list no matter what.
I actually did struggle to see which year I should go with. It was either this year, it was either 13 or the 2022 season where they blew a 3-1 lead to the Habs. It shouldn't have even been in the playoffs, but it doesn't matter. This is 20. This is actually really what this is Genesis really for the modern era of Toronto Maple Leafs. 2013. It's a lockout shortened season, so there was they had negotiations that they didn't start the season until like January. They only played 54 games instead of 82, which is normal. And so the Leafs that year. Leafs are in a weird place. They've got a couple, like, no really bona fide superstar players, but a couple bigger fish on the team, right? But they're kind of middling. The Leafs at this point were kind of afraid to admit of what they were, that they needed to maybe do like a rebuild, but, still trying to make it. So they actually had a really good season. And in the playoff shortened season, they had a good enough record to make the playoffs. Now, they were a lower seed, and they played against the Boston Bruins in the first round, who were at the height of their powers. I mean, Boston Bruins 2013. I mean, that was an amazing team. They went all the way to the finals that year. So this actually, I don't know how many Maple Leafs fans, myself included, ever expected them to win this series, or much less like even to take it to a game 7, but they did. They got to a game 7. A lot of heart. Goaltender James Reimer played great. We're getting performances from the star players. Some of the kids are. It's done by committee. We get to game 7. We exit the first period tied 1-1. So that's pretty good. Game 7, we're hanging in there, acting like we belong. Score another goal there in the second period from Phil Kessel, I believe. We're up 2-1 after 2 periods. Then, amazingly, Nazem Kadri, Phil Kessel with a second. We're up 4-1. And with 11 minutes left in the third period, we have a 3-1 lead. And that's when it all starts to slowly
There's no
unravel.
way. I mean, you're up 3-1 in the third. There's no way you could blow that.
Yeah, 4-1. No, they're up 3
Oh,
goals.
wow.
They're up 4-1.
Gee.
They're
4 to 1.
4-1.
4 to 1. No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Don't tell me that anybody can blow that lead.
Yeah, so let me take it. Let me just bring you to where I am in my life at this point. I'm up 4-1. We're up 4-1. And feeling good. Haven't experienced Maple Leaf playoffs before. This is fun. I have a young son at home. I think, let's see, 2013. Shit, Lane's 2 years old. This is where it's a very exciting time. And watching with bated breath, it's really fun to experience this. And you start to actually think, oh my God, like they're gonna win. They're gonna beat the Bruins. Like that's crazy because the Bruins is like again huge mismatch on paper. And my God, they came out because all it takes is any given day, any given game, and here we are, Game 7, and they're making the most of it. And then you start to get that belief in you. Like I said,
That's your first mistake.
let's see, 11 minutes left. The Bruins pot one, so now we're only 2 up. So still pretty good in hockey. If you're any type of a decent team, a 2-goal lead they say it's the most dangerous lead in all of hockey, just because the momentum shift. If they get that one more. That one to tie it is just that much more likely. But they were, again, to rewind, they were up 3-1, or I'm sorry, 4-1. They were up 3 goals. They had a 3-goal lead. And then, with 4 minutes left, they score again. And in the last minute and a half, they tie it. That is the dagger. So it feels, because in that moment, you feel my heart sunk, because it was like it felt like you're standing at the bottom of a hill and an avalanche has begun, and there's nothing.
Oh,
it's like,
shit.
the inevitable is coming, right?
It's not even mud. It's just horse shit
And
rolling down on you.
it only overtime, as I recall, it was an absolute fucking gong show, complete disaster. Everybody standing around. They were visibly shook. Like the Leafs,
Sure.
they really started to act like the team they were in that moment. They started to show kind of that where they actually belonged, and not that they were this outperforming team. And it only took 4 minutes in to the overtime for the Bruins to pot the eventual round winner. And that was a moment where I lost my shit like no other. I did. I went into my room and I threw a couple things and did that. When you you just you want to scream, but you're just audibly doing it. Because, like I said, baby Lane's in there. And
I did that
so
on
I
my
calmly
wedding day.
collected myself and I walk out to the garage and I take one of my old hockey sticks, big, thick, solid wooden one, and just start beating the shit out of everything that's on the wall, ladders and boxes, and I'm hitting fucking just beating the shit out of whatever I see that's not my car in my garage. I am happy to say I handle defeat differently now. Let's see. I was like 25 when this happened, so I definitely running hot. Definitely just emotions were high. And like I said, this is just kind of my first time as a Leafs fan experiencing playoffs, and it was an exciting time. And to have it all taken away so drastically and so abruptly. And embarrassingly, it really was embarrassing. Like I said, the only reason that I kind of went back and forth with including this year's Maple or the 2013 or the 2022 is the thing about 2023 or 2013 that gives me solace is that truly, when you really look back on it, that team did not belong there in the first place. So they were outperforming and they were just running on hopes and dreams. So it would have been incredible to see them win that series. But there again, it was the first round, which the Leafs are, pretty used to getting to and then oftentimes never making it past. But it was only the first round. It wasn't like it was the finals. And looking back, I find comfort in the fact that honestly, they didn't belong in that series, and they showed it. It was just in that moment they showed it in a heartbreaking fashion, but it didn't make it hurt any less at the time. So the 2013 Leafs, it's people refer back to it all the time. They just say 2013 to a Leafs fan, and it's that epic 3-goal lead blown in the last half of the third period. It's so embarrassing. It's so terrible.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Mm-hmm. Brian, you're up, buddy.
Yeah,
Okay,
Nick had the same actual with the hockey stick beating everything in the garage. When he realized he was going to marry my sister, he had the same reaction.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
hmm
Brian, what do you got there?
I get it.
What's
I
your
get it.
next moment?
Another Cleveland Indians one at the time, 2016. 2016
Mhm.
Cleveland Indians at the time, before they were the Guardians.
The rain delay.
Yes, you might remember. And so in 2016, it was highs and lows of Cleveland. This was the epic, one of the best sports moments ever. The Cleveland Cavaliers come back from 3 games
Yep.
to one to defeat the best team record in basketball at the time, the Golden State Warriors. Just a phenomenal thing. That was unbelievable series. So Cleveland's riding high. And then while you're at it, all of a sudden the Cleveland Indians are playing well. It's
The
like, wow,
last quarter of
that's
the
kind of
season
neat.
just came alive.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. Winning. It's like, hey, wait a minute. Is it somehow possible
Hmm.
that the Cavaliers and the Indians could win a championship in the same season? It's
I know
just an
it's not professional,
amazing.
but the Monsters as well. They did it
Right.
just
There
a
you go.
month before the Cavs. So
There you
Nick,
go.
we were there.
There you go.
We
yeah.
were there
Yes,
for
we
that
were.
last
So
game.
Big 2016. Yeah.
three
Yep.
teams. I mean, Cleveland, it's just amazing, right? So, and then again, the Indians gets all the way to the World Series. It happens to be the two teams that had the longest drought in World Series history: the Cubs versus the Indians at the time. And the Indians go up 3 games to one, and it's that same type of feeling as a fan where you're watching it, and it's like, okay, well, they're going to win. People are
Yeah.
preparing attire and newspaper. It's all that the Cleveland Indians are finally going to end their drought, and then they lose. They're like, okay. They're like, well, they'll win game 6. Nope. Lose
Mhm.
game 6. And it's like, ah. And then you get to game 7 in
I
Cleveland, and
forget
it's
they
like
were up 3-1. I
3-1.
remember that, watching along, following along, and I forget that they were up 3 games to 1.
That's a big, yeah. And then you're just watching it fade away in game 7, and it's like it's just going downhill, and they're
We
real.
had the lead going into in the rain delay.
Yeah, they're
That
spiraling, and
the rain
yeah,
delay destroyed our momentum.
yeah,
I am a very firm believer. If it wasn't for that rain delay, we would have wrapped up that game and won the World
yep,
Series. That
yeah.
rain delay fucked
Yep,
us.
yep. They were down, and they scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th, and you just feel it.
Mhm.
Like you say, it's coming back.
We
The
we had
electricity,
the
the
momentum.
fans are going crazy. Like you said, fucking rain delay. And they came back, and I can't remember how long the delay was, but it was long
About a
enough
half hour, I think.
long enough to suck up the momentum,
Momentum.
the
Yep,
momentum and everything,
that
and
hurt.
they lose. They
That
lose.
hurt.
That was just a tough, because
Yeah.
that series, just as a fan, definitely had the highs and lows. We're up. We're going to win. We still can do it. Oh my God, here we go
And
again.
let
And
me
then
tell
they
you,
come back that 8th inning. It's like, yes, somehow they're going to do it. You just felt like it was going to happen.
coming back
And nope.
like the rest of the season. The only reason, Brian, I didn't put that on my list
hmm
is because of the opponent. If it would have been like the Dodgers or somebody that like, oh, that's World Series champions, they just come in and beat us. The reason I didn't put it on the list is
The
because
Cubs were the only team with a longer drought than them.
it's right.
Yes, it was.
The Cubs was
Yeah.
the only team that you could have gone, okay, like it really, really sucked, but they deserve it too.
That was the only other team that you're like, okay, it's
Yep,
remotely tolerable for those
exactly,
fans in that city, because you
exactly.
knew that they felt what you felt,
Right.
but that was still a tough one. That was still a tough series.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's
So
hard to not feel like truly, people always talk about like curses and things like that. But it's like something like that, like a rain delay that comes in at that moment and then shifts
unbelievable.
everything. It's like, how
Yep.
does that not feel like an act of like nature or God that you're
Right.
just like, fuck,
Exactly.
like something doesn't want us to win. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that was nutty.
I mean, regardless if you have like the curse of rain or whatever, or you could have the curse of the Bambino,
hmm
which Boston had for many, 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 many years. And then here comes 1986. 1986, they get to the world, or it's the playoffs, right, Brian? It was the playoffs.
Definitely was a playoff
To
game.
get,
We'll look
it
it up
was
here.
the ALCS to get to the World Series, and they're going to go to the World Series for the first time in, I probably at that point 70 some years, maybe.
It was in the World
Um,
Series. It was the 86 World Series. Yep.
No, it's to get to the World Series, right?
Well, Bill Buckner's 86 World Series era. It was
Okay,
the
so
bottom
it
of the
was in the
10th
World
inning,
Series.
Game 6 of the World Series,
Okay,
Boston Red Sox versus the Mets, the Miracle Mets.
so this is Game 6. A lot of people don't think it was like the end. It ended the series, but it was Game 6. The hit goes up through Bill Buckner's legs. We've all seen it through the agony of defeat. The ball goes through Bill Buckner's legs. Mets score, win Game 6, which if Boston would have won, they would have won the World Series. But
Yeah,
it
they were
does
up 3
bring
games to 2. You're right. They were up 3 games to 2 there, and then
so it would
Mets
have won the
won.
World Series for Boston if all Buckner had to do was catch the ball, throw it to first. Series over. They win the World Series. But it goes through Buckner's, like Bill Buckner, a fantastic player, like a Hall of Fame player, has had to live with the death threats and the hate and just the agony of defeat
For one play.
for one play. And if you look at the rest of his career, he was an amazing player. But for this one play, that's what he is known for, especially in Boston. And then Game 7 comes, and Mets, end it and whatnot. But it didn't end in that game, but it brought it to Game 7, which the Mets won. But Bill Buckner, I think, is, if you look at the pop culture knowledge of the agony of defeat and disappointment, that is why I have Bill Buckner on the list. I think Bill Buckner and the 1986 Red Sox World Series definitely 100% deserves to be on this list. It's iconic.
Yeah, probably for those fans at the time, that's for sure.
Yep. So that's my 3, guys. Who's next?
All right. Well, I'm going to stick with baseball here.
All right.
This is the freshest wound and certainly the deepest.
Can you join the podcast?
Yeah. And all right, that would be 2025 World Series, Game 7, Toronto Blue Jays, LA Dodgers. So I obviously am a Toronto fan, and so that's where I'm coming from. But I think on this list, we discussed heartbreaking moments in sports, and Dean mentioned earlier, that Indians loss was tough, but they lost to the Cubs, and this is quite literally the 2025 Toronto Blue Jays literally were the dead last place. They were the last place team in their division just the year before. So they won the division in 2025. They went from last to first. They got incredible performances from not only their stars, but it was just, once again, done by committee and such a close knit group. Everybody was talking about how through the power of friendship, this Blue Jays team's getting it done and everybody's kicking in. Half these guys were playing in the minors last year and, all this and that. Incredible run. Got to see the Jays, beat the Yankees, beat the Mariners. We face the powerhouse LA Dodgers, and the LA Dodgers, who have superstar, potentially the greatest baseball player we've ever seen, Shohei Ohtani, on their team, who the Blue Jays were very much in contention to get just a few seasons prior. But he chose the Dodgers, so that's just another added layer of like, wouldn't it be fun to beat Shohei and the team that he chose instead of us, So Toronto, not the World Series drought, certainly. It's been since '93 since the Jays won, but still, long time, right? Not only that, they had the better record than the Dodgers. They had home field. So Game 7 is at the Rogers Center in Toronto, Sky Dome. and all the vibes are right. You know, this is an amazing team, the Dodgers. Bo Bichette, one of their best players, had
Doesn't he have
spent
his new movie coming out with Grogu?
yeah, pretty much the entire postseason had been out with an injury and comes back in this final series against the Dodgers. And in the third inning, he hit a 3-run homer, and that felt just something was so perfect about it. And then it started to, from that shot, I remember feeling like this is destiny. Like, this is happening. Like, everything had just been breaking for us the whole time, and the momentum of game after game, series after series, all these moments are compiling and they continue to bounce back, and there's all these incredible moments that this Bo Bichette 3-run homer in the third felt like this is your cherry on top. Like, this is, it was hard to get any kind of lead throughout the whole series. Essentially, this game went to 11 innings total, but before we even get to the 11th, I went back and rewatched some of this for the first time since that night, and I couldn't finish. I couldn't finish it. I forgot, actually, a little bit how many. So the IKF slide into home in the 9th inning is the one that everyone talks about, because to this day, there's still people go, was he out or was he safe? It honestly, you can slow it down, you can zoom in, you can look at it from different angles. There's dust on the plate. There's almost simultaneously the feed. It's hard to really determine if he was out or not, but they reviewed it, and the ump says he was in fact out and called him out. So that would have right there sealed the deal for the Jays. With that run in the bottom of the 9th, if IKF is safe at home, the Toronto Blue Jays are World Series champions today. But he was out. After that, I forgot that in extra innings, Dalton Varsho almost ended it with a big hit to the outfield. And Kike Hernandez, and I can't remember the guy that actually made the catch, but they're both going for the ball in the outfield.
Yeah.
They actually collide into each other, and yet somehow, miraculously, the catch is still made for an out. So we keep playing, and eventually, in the 11th inning, the Dodgers hit a solo homer. They end the game. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So you go through all these heartbreaks in sports. That one for me, I like I said, I handle heartbreak different these days. This just happened November 1st of 2025. So I just laid on my couch for a solid 40 minutes and just in complete silence and stared at the ceiling and replayed everything that I just watched, everything that I experienced through the entire postseason run, the majesty of it all, like how just wonderful and incredible, and I couldn't believe it was real. I felt both heartbroken and yet numb, like it was like a full body numbness as I just laid there. It is the most hurt I have ever been by sports, and I can't imagine ever being hurt by it more. Now, I understand there's probably a different level to it if you have a horrible collapse in a game 7 for the Leafs. I mean, the Leafs are certainly my number one, but after experiencing that, I can't, and I'm sitting there laughing to myself like maniacally, like the fucking Joker, thinking about all the times that I've been upset about first round Toronto Maple Leafs teams that, lose in a game 7. And I'm like, that's so fucking silly. That's such childish bullshit. That's insane, because none of it or all of it combined doesn't even begin to compare to what I felt that night. I have never been hurt by sports like I was on November 1st, 2025. And it's hard to imagine that I ever could again. Like I said, I'm sure a scenario exists.
It's gonna happen.
I don't ever want to experience it.
It's going to happen.
But God, what a beautiful team to have. What a beautiful team to root for. What an incredible run that was. Memories I'll have forever. It grew me closer to the game of baseball forever and ever. And so I have that to be thankful for. But it also, talking to different people, and a lot of people like at work were giving me words of, condolences and things like that. A lot of which who are, Cleveland Guardians fans, and a lot of them, recalled back to 2016, and they were like, the worst part is it never gets better. The sting never really goes away because even if the Jays were to go and win the World Series this season, they could have won one last year too.
Yep.
And
We
it
still have
would have
that
been
pain.
with all those, like, that'll never not just totally fucking suck. It is the most heartbroken I have ever been while watching sports, ever. Hands down, not even close. And it's hard to, just all the other times I've been upset over sports after experiencing that, I'm like, I can't believe that happened like that. And in Toronto, in Game 7, oh God, it just fucking horrible. Absolutely gut wrenching. So that's mine.
Yeah, I was definitely rooting for Toronto in that series. What a great game! That was one of the best World Series games probably
Oh
ever.
yeah, it
But
absolutely was. Yeah.
yeah, I was definitely rooting for Toronto. Now Dodgers have sort of become the evil empire,
Sure.
buying all the
Right.
talent, and Toronto had a shot to defeat them. It was just like, yes, stick it to the Dodgers, stick it to the man. It was the whole feeling they're going to
Yeah.
win, and God,
Yeah, unless you were a
just a
Dodgers
couple
fan, I don't
close
think anybody
plays.
was rooting for the Dodgers.
Nope.
No, just a couple
Nope.
close plays, like you said. Like you said, the dude's incredible catch, and yeah, just some. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's a tough
It
one.
was fun. And like around that, I was always, I was wearing Jays gear on game days and stuff like that. And somebody would see me like, especially in this area, a lot of those Jays players were past guard. They had played in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, I mean, people were like rooting for them because they'd played for Cleveland. So every time somebody'd see me in like a Jays jersey somewhere, they'd be like, we're pulling for you. We got a lot of old Guardians and stuff. So in this area, but like, yeah, everywhere. I mean, you did feel a camaraderie around that team anytime I was wearing Jay's stuff because it's like everybody was rooting for you, But
Yep.
yeah, tough.
That's a rough one.
Brian, you got your last one?
Last one, I'll make it quick here. When Jimmy Johnson left the Dallas Cowboys, so as a Cowboys fan, as a kid, I was a Cowboys fan for many years. I almost picked the catch, Nick. The catch. I had the reaction as a kid that you had with when you were younger. When I watched the 49ers defeat the Cowboys with a Dwight
Why is this
Clark
happening to
super
me?
ridiculous catch, and
Yeah.
Cowboys lose 28-27, and I went and tore up a bunch of Sports Illustrateds in my room that had 49ers on the cover, just tore it up.
Yeah.
That'll fix them.
Yeah, right.
All that type of stuff. Just
I
dumb
don't know
kid
how to
stuff.
deal with this emotionally.
Yeah.
Too young for this. I don't know.
Yeah. But that was that was sort of the start of the decline of the Cowboys in the 80s, and they were just terrible through the 80s for a decade until, of course, they fire Tom Landry. They bring in Jimmy Johnson. Jerry Jones buys the team. And as you remember, of course, being younger as well, they had a couple years they built up 1-15, like 7-9, something like that. Just missed the playoffs. 11-5, get to the playoffs, lose to Detroit. And next season, get in and have it was gangbusters.
Unstoppable.
Defeat the 49ers in the championship game. Phenomenal. One of my best sports moments of all time ever there, too. And had a run. And then they win the next 2 Super Bowls. And it's like, oh, my God, this is really something that they're building up here. I mean, how long is this going to run? And then they just can't fucking keep it together. And Jimmy Johnson leaves. Was he fired? Did he quit? I mean, both guys will tell you a different story. And they bring in Barry Switzer, as you know, Nick. And then, they won another Super Bowl 2 years later with the talent that Jimmy Johnson brought in. But it was never the same. And never. That was last Super Bowl, 1996. Was it 30 fucking years ago now? And they still have not gotten back to even the NFC Championship game. And it all started when they got rid of Jimmy Johnson. Would it have lasted a long time?
Yeah.
Could they have kept it together with the rules changed?
I feel
that wasn't
real bad for you, Brian.
Yeah, no kidding with the Browns.
Fucking bad for you.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're some teams never even got to the Super Bowl, like Cleveland, like you said. So it's hard to get too upset. But You just don't know. That's the thing is, you don't
We're just
know
saying for teams with ownerships that
could have
actually do
been.
care about the team they have, that's a
Right.
long time. Like,
Right.
Right.
What could have been if they'd have kept him on there? Maybe they would have got back again. Maybe they wouldn't have. Who the heck knows? But just the fire
yeah.
just
Language.
left the team, and they haven't been able to bring it back since.
Yep.
And again, free agency changed. There was a lot of different rule changes. Oh, okay, so it would have been harder to keep the team together anyway. I get it, but that moment to me was the decline of the Cowboys, and they've never been able to recapture it since.
No. Nope.
Even though they won the Super Bowl, it still wasn't the same. They
No.
That was it.
Well, it was
That's
Jimmy's team that, I mean, you or I could have coached that team to a Super Bowl. I mean,
but seems that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Was there any other ones?
We have nope. That's it. And
Okay.
nothing went through automatically.
Yeah, I would imagine not.
I am going to start with just for my heart going out to Nick and his lifelong sadness. I'm going to put the Maple Leaf Bruins on the list. I'm going to second that. Brian.
Yeah, I'm just going to give Dick two right there. I'm going to say the both Toronto losses, the Blue Jays and the Maple Leafs, just because we know Nick's passion for those teams, and
I
you can
agree.
definitely feel his pain and his story. So I'll give him both of those.
appreciate that. It's a nice consolation to at least make the list.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would like to second that with, I mean, the more we were talking about, I was relating the Jays story to the 2016 Guardians was just, I don't know, that one. It's hard to tell because I mean, like, I'm not in those moments, and I certainly remember 2016 more than 97. I remember 97. I
Sure.
remember being aware of it, but I think I was in like grade 5, so like I wasn't. And also, like, we were watching it because it was a thing at the time, but like nobody in my really family watched baseball, so I wasn't super familiar with what was going on. But 2016, certainly, I mean, living here and having friends who are, big fans and stuff like that.
I
You're
remember
paying
standing
attention to
there
it, watching
alone
it.
in my
Yeah,
living room, watching just feeling the most alone, just looking around, going, "This can't be fucking real."
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Out of a
That's
simple
how I watched
goddamn rain delay,
That's how I watched the '97 game, Dean. Right there, I was
just alone, standing.
I was in my apartment with Cooper, and I lived together at the time. Nobody was home. Nobody was out. I
Just you.
watched that game alone in the living room,
And
pacing
it
back
feels
and
so
forth.
hollow and
Oh my God,
distraught.
that was
And
horrible.
That's how
Horrible.
I was in my living room when and like Robin was in there with me, and then at a certain point she quietly walked away, like kissed me
Sure.
and was like, "I love you," and like went to bed. And I was just like,
Yeah, that's
and then
nice.
you're just sitting there alone, like just dealing with it because she can't understand. And I
Just
don't
make sure the
expect her to.
gunshot doesn't
But
wake us up.
just like Jesus, like yeah. Oh God.
It's hard to
Yep.
pick which. We have to have an Indians one here, being in Northeast Ohio. I
Yeah,
don't know
for
which one
sure.
is worse. You could argue either one. I
That
honestly,
Marlins one, we were so
I'm
much better than
I'm,
them.
I'm going to say I want to say
Fuck.
97. 97
Me
was
too.
worse because
So I'll let you
90,
guys
Hurt
pick on that. Yeah.
so bad.
95 they were a great
We got
team.
beat by a better team, but we did get beat by a better team. 95.
But 97 they
Not
weren't
by
expected.
much,
They weren't expected to be there in 97. And I
but
remember
once we got there,
97.
we were so much better than the Marlins. The
Yeah,
Marlins.
and I remember we beat the Yankees, I think, in the
Yeah, right,
championship round
right.
or something. That was like,
Yeah.
man, that was so fucking good. And it was a goddamn fucking
I can't-
Florida Marlins. It was just in the
That
league for like
hurt
45
so
minutes.
bad.
In the
Yep.
league
That's
for
like
like 45 minutes, and then they
Yep.
fucking pull together a couple players, and that is not supposed to happen. And then they fucking dismantled the team the next year. I remember that. They fucking
That's
dismantled
like
the
if-
team and sold them off, all their high priced talent. Oh, that was it. And then that era of Cleveland Indians, all those Jim Thome and Albert Bell and Carlos Baerga and
You'll never
all those guys
see a team
never got
like
back.
that. Nope.
Never got back again. Never got back again. That was really tough. Yep. So I'm gonna get edge now. I'm gonna get edge 97 over
Me too.
2016. Yeah, especially because 2016 we also had the Cavs at once, so it was already a magical year in
We
Cleveland.
already
That
were
would have been like
feeling good
icing
in a
on the
certain
cake.
part. Yep.
Yeah,
All right. I have to argue Bill Buckner just for the national acknowledgement. Like everybody know, you could probably talk to anybody who's not a Boston fan and say the name Buckner, and they knew who you're talking about and why you said it.
Sure.
It's just, I mean, for all, especially being fans of teams that come close and have just that curse that we do. We know what that's like, and we know to have the drive, the shot, the fumble. As Northeast Ohio fans, we know what that's like, and to have Bill Buckner on a national stage, because Boston is a bigger
Market.
than Cleveland. It is on a bigger stage. So the Bill Buckner shot to me is just iconic, and if you're just talking about disappointments, to me that has to be on the list. So there's my argument for Bill Buckner.
I can't give anything to the Boston Red Sox. Sorry.
All right.
I was actually having that thought. I'm like, it's hard to ever feel sympathy for Boston.
But you're
they
putting
won.
him on a list of shitty things. It's not like you're putting him on a good list.
That was tough. That was tough for them at the time, but they did go on and win. And
All
again,
right.
being a Cleveland baseball fan, the dicks that we had to play against those Red Sox teams back then, f
Sure.
them anyway.
No, I agree.
Sorry.
Okay, that's
Sorry,
fair.
Boston.
That's fair.
Get that out
All
of
right.
here. He blocked that shit. He's like, nope.
Then we have two
Fucking
more.
Boston.
We need arguments for two more.
The Skyhook one is interesting.
I like that one.
That
Yeah.
one is a good one. Because like you said, I mean, those were such like icon. What a rivalry! Like the Lakers and the
Oh,
Celtics.
man.
And the, like,
I'm honestly, I mean,
Magic
I
and Bird,
like
like-
that
For
whole
Boston, I'm rooting
thing.
for Boston there. See, Boston.
Yeah,
I
there you
like
go.
that
Yeah.
whole thing, Nick. But the reason I'm going to go with it is honestly Nick's story or Brian's story. The graduation and it just the whole feeling of it made me, feel bad for that mullet-headed little fella,
what it was.
drinking a cheap-ass beer at a shitty bar.
That's
So
what it was. Mm-hmm.
I'm
Doesn't get
gonna
much
second
slower than that, does it? Just,
Nope.
Damn it.
He hit rock bottom. So I'll agree to
And
put that.
right as he graduated, the night he graduated high school.
It's done.
Damn.
Your
just like
life's
that.
gonna begin.
Shit.
Oh.
Magic. Yep.
So
Yep. All right. Thank you.
what year was it? Lakers.
Lakers Celtics 87
All right.
finals. Game 5.
All right, so is that 4 of them taken? So we got
Yep,
one more
yep,
spot.
one more.
And what do we got? We got Heidi Bowl. We got your Buckner, and we've got we've got Paul Correa,
and
Anaheim,
Jimmy Johnson leaves.
2003.
Yep.
Jimmy
Yep.
Johnson leaves. Okay,
Buckner's off the table.
I certainly the Ducks thing. That's 2003. That was up until this past year. That was the worst sports thing for me.
I mean, it's a hell of a story that you painted there. So
but-
I'm not.
Yeah, there
opposed
is
to this.
that. And it was like I said, it was a Cinderella run, and the Ducks they were a team that had not had really any. They were kind of they were like, oh, that's the Disney team. It's the Mighty Ducks. You know what I mean? That was kind of always the thing, right? And here they were taking on. I think the Devils had already won in 2001. They won 2 years prior to when they won again. So to take them to even 7 games again was kind of a big deal. It's just a really magical kind of set of circumstances. I guess anytime you're following a team through, especially you're talking,
Sure.
and that's not to take anything away from football, but football's one game. When you're playing series like you are in hockey and baseball and basketball, you're going through it. Every other day, your team is battling. And if you're in it with the team, you're watching them every 2 to 3 days, and you're living and dying by every possession, by every, in everything that happens. And it feels like such a little miniature story in your life. You know what I mean? So when it's over, like it's the same thing I was thinking about the Jays when I'm replaying all these good and bad moments and all these epic things you had and where you were and how you felt when this happened. So it was definitely that. So yeah, just to even get that far, and then ultimately, the reason I think the Jays thing hurt worse, even though like the Ducks and Korea were like my childhood. They did. They ultimately got shut out in that game 7. It was the ride of it to ultimately just be a wet fart in game 7 and lose 3-0 sucked so hard. But at least it wasn't like in heartbreaking fashion like that Jays one was. But God, it still was. It was. I mean, you really felt you're like this is this is you're manifesting this. This is going to happen for you. So that was tough. But man, that like you Brian, like you said with the Jimmy Johnson thing, it's like. It is not an isolated moment on the field, but it is a definitive moment in the franchise that absolutely sent shockwaves through
And sports history,
something that
really.
was so automatic. Like that team, that Cowboys team
With 2
of the
fucking in a
90s
row.
was so fucking automatic. And
Yeah.
what they had, and with Jimmy, and it all comes down to ego and pride of ownership versus coaching. And that's a really bitter and sour way to let something so amazing fall apart. Yeah, like I can't imagine, like if this podcast was like so huge that we were making millions of dollars from it, I can't imagine being like, I'm leaving because people see Brian as the head of the show. Like that's insane. You're like whatever is happening here, it's magic, right? If it's working out,
I'm leaving because it
it's
doesn't give me
insane.
head during the show.
That's wild. But yeah, I don't know. I personally, like I said, I personally relate to both of them. Certainly for me personally, the Ducks one again because I brought it up and that was the thing I experienced. But I also do have a tie to the Jimmy Johnson thing as well. I mean that certainly impacted me as a Cowboys fan as well. So I don't know.
Still
Let
angers
me
me. That's still angers me.
let me
And
fix.
he put him in the goddamn Ring of Honor till he's a fucking old man. I mean, Jesus
And that
Christ,
felt like
it was so stupid,
it was a
so
curse
dumb.
buster. Like because that year the Cowboys were pretty good, and it looked like they had some. They had some a good playoff performance the first round. That was CeeDee Lamb also broke Michael Irvin's record that year, and that was the same year as Jimmy Johnson going to the Ring of Honor. I remember feeling like I think something feels like maybe there's like some curse busting stuff going on here, but still no, same shit.
Well, I'm going to go with the curse busting myself, and my choice between those two, I would pick Jimmy Johnson leaving the Cowboys. I think it not only hurts individual people watching or like some of the other things we've on the list, but this hurts a fan base collectively. Sure. And not at a moment like in a game, but like it hurts them for a long time for a decision. So I'm going to second the Jimmy Johnson thing to end our list. If
I'll sign off on that.
All three are on it.
Yep.
Good.
Good.
All right.
Good. That's 5.
Yep, that's 5.
Wow.
Yeah, 2013 Leafs.
All right. Yep.
2025 Jays.
Yep.
We got the 97 Cleveland Indians against right. Okay, and then we've got the Magic.
Magic Johnson defeat. 87
and Jimmy
finals.
Johnson leaves the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy Johnson is fired from the Cowboys, I guess.
Right.
Yeah,
was he as a mutual split?
Both guys say
Jerry,
different. Watch that
Jerry
documentary.
fired him.
They both have a different take on how it went down. So
because Jerry said there was that whole thing at Disney where he was like, when they toast to and he was like, he held on to that reporter and said, "Don't leave. I'm about to fire Jimmy Johnson." So at least, that's at least Jerry's side of it. But yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I digress.
It sucks.
Bullshit.
Well, boys, I think we did it. I think we came up with the ultimate list of
heartbroken.
disappointments in sports
And
history.
disappointments in
Yeah,
sports
but-
history is key.
At least
because,
our sports history.
That's right.
I'm amazed no Cleveland Browns made the list here.
That is pretty wild.
The
Yeah, that is
drive
pretty
or the
wild.
fumble. I'm surprised.
Maybe it was
either one.
low-hanging fruit. Everybody probably was like,
That's honestly what I was thinking.
It's a little
Like,
too
it's
on
so
the nose.
easy.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I didn't want to go too Northeast Ohio centric. So
Gotcha.
I had the fumble as an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, well, regardless of all the disappointments we have felt, you can come back here each and every week and perhaps feel disappointed yourself and listen to Convincing Idiots. So if you've not already done so, be sure to find us on all of our social media accounts. Find links to those by going to Google and typing in Convincing Idiots link tree. You can also go to our website, which is convincingidiots.wordpress.com. For episode 290 of Convincing Idiots, I'm Millennial Nick.
The Zennial Dean.
Gen X Brian.
Have we convinced you that there are perhaps even bigger disappointments out there for you to lend your ears to?
We're not the worst.
World's okayest podcast.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's make that t-shirt.
Okay adjacent podcast.
I like it.
Hey, did you like that video? You know you did, and we know you did. So stop screwing around and go like that video, subscribe to our channel, and join us for some more.
Ham, grape.
Oh, wee.